I spent 30 days reading the 5 most recommended real estate investing books on the internet. Every Reddit thread, every YouTube comment, every best books for real estate list, these 5 titles come up over and over again. So I read them all. And today I'm going to tell you which ones are worth your time, which ones are just guru fluff, and the 5 principles that showed up in literally every single book. I'm not a real estate expert. I'm learning this from scratch and bringing you along for the journey. So think of this as the book report from someone who just did all the homework you don't have time to do. Let's start with the one everyone tells you to read first, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is the gateway drug of real estate investing. Over 40 million copies sold. And I'll be honest with you, it's not really a real estate book. It's a mindset book. Kiyosaki tells the story of his 2 dads. His real dad, the poor dad, was a highly educated government employee who believed in getting a good job, saving money, and playing it safe. His rich dad was his best friend's father, a businessman who never finished high school but built a real estate empire. The core idea is simple. The rich don't work for money. Money works for them. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. And your house? It's not an asset. It's a liability because it costs you money every month. Is it worth reading? Look, the book has genuine value for shifting your mindset from employee thinking to investor thinking. The asset versus liability framework, explained simply, is powerful. But there are 2 problems. 1, Kiyosaki has admitted some of the stories are embellished. The rich dad might not even be a real person. 2, the book gives you 0 actionable steps. You finish it feeling inspired but having absolutely no idea what to do next. Read it for the mindset shift. Just don't expect a how-to manual. Book 2, The Book on Rental Property Investing by Brandon Turner. If Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the why, this is the how. Brandon Turner is one of the hosts of the Bigger Pockets podcast, probably the biggest name in practical real estate education. And this book delivers exactly what the title promises, a step-by-step guide to buying and managing rental properties. He walks through finding deals, analyzing properties, financing your purchases, screening tenants, managing properties, and scaling your portfolio. Every chapter ends with actionable steps. There are real numbers, real case studies, real math you can follow. What stood out to me? The way he breaks down the 4 wealth generators of rental properties: cash flow, appreciation, loan paydown, and tax benefits. I already covered the first 3 in my last video comparing real estate to stocks, but Turner explains them in a way that's specifically useful for evaluating a potential deal. Also, the chapter on property management alone is worth the price of the book. How to handle late payments, evictions, maintenance calls at 2 a.m. The stuff that scares beginners away from real estate, he addresses all of it head on. One caveat: this book was written when interest rates were much lower. Some of the example deals might not pencil out in today's market with higher rates, but the frameworks he teaches for analyzing deals are timeless. If you're going to buy one book from this list, this is probably the one. Book 3, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. You might know Keller as the founder of Keller Williams, the massive real estate brokerage. This book is based on interviews with over 100 millionaire real estate investors, and it tries to distill what they all have in common. The book is built around 3 frameworks. Think a million, the mindset and beliefs; buy a million, the actual acquisition strategies; and own a million, the long-term holding and wealth preservation principles. What I loved, the idea that millionaire investors think differently. They're not chasing get-rich-quick schemes. They're methodical. They have criteria. They have a plan. Keller includes worksheets where you figure out exactly how many properties you need to own to reach your financial goals. Then he breaks it down into how many you need to buy per year. It takes this vague dream of real estate wealth and turns it into a concrete, doable math problem. What I didn't love, the book is long, over 400 pages, and a lot of it is motivational stories. If you want the frameworks, you can probably get them from a summary. But if you're the kind of person who needs the full immersion to actually change how you think about money, this book delivers. The one quote that stuck with me: the middle class buys liabilities they think are assets. The rich buy assets they know are assets, and they do it systematically. Book 4, What Every Real Estate Investor Needs to Know About Cash Flow by Frank Gallinelli. This is the math book, the Excel spreadsheet book. And honestly, it was the hardest one to get through. Gallinelli is a professor. He teaches real estate finance at universities. And the book reads like a textbook because it basically is one. Net operating income, cap rates, internal rate of return, discounted cash flow, debt coverage ratio. He covers every financial metric that matters in real estate. Here's why you should care. Most beginner real estate investors lose money because they can't do the math. They buy a property because it feels like a good deal. Then they discover the numbers don't work. This book teaches you to run the numbers before you buy, not after. The chapter on cap rates alone clarified something I'd been confused about for months, and his explanation of how even small changes in interest rates can completely change the math on a deal. That's incredibly relevant right now. Who should read this? If you're serious about real estate investing, not just curious, not just learning for fun, this book is mandatory. If you're going to put real money into real property, you need to understand these concepts. Who can skip it? If you're still in the exploration phase, this book might overwhelm you. Start with the Turner book. Come back to this one when you're ready to actually analyze deals. Book 5, The ABCs of Real Estate Investing by Ken McElroy. McElroy is one of the rich dad advisors, part of Kiyosaki's inner circle, and this book is the most beginner-friendly of the bunch. It walks you through the entire process from start to finish, finding a market, building a team, finding a deal, negotiating, financing, managing, and eventually selling. Each chapter is short. The language is simple. There are checklists everywhere. The strongest section is on building your team. McElroy argues that you can't succeed alone. You need a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a property manager, an accountant, an attorney, a contractor, and an insurance broker. And he explains exactly what to look for in each one, including the specific questions to ask during interviews. The weakness, it's surface level. If you've already read the Turner book, there's not much new here. But if you're brand new to real estate and want one book that gives you the full picture without overwhelming you, this might actually be a better starting point than Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So, 5 books, 30 days. Here's what surprised me most. Every single one of these books, regardless of author, regardless of strategy, agreed on 5 things. 1, you don't need your own money to invest. Every book mentioned some form of OPM, other people's money. Whether it's bank financing, private lenders, partners, seller financing, or creative deal structures, the universal message was the same. Real estate is a game of using other people's capital. I covered this in detail in my last video on investing with $0. 2, cash flow is king. Appreciation is speculation. Every book warned against buying properties that lose money every month, hoping they'll go up in value. That's gambling. Real investing means the property pays you from day one. 3, you need a team. Not one book suggested you could do this alone. Real estate agent, lender, property manager, accountant, attorney, contractor. You don't need all of them on day one, but you need to know who you're going to call. 4, education comes before acquisition. Every book in some form said, learn before you earn. Understand the numbers before you write the check. The investors who lose everything are the ones who skip the education part. And 5, just start. This was the chapter in every book that hit the hardest. Analysis paralysis is the real enemy. You can learn forever. You can run numbers forever. But the investors who succeed are the ones who eventually take action. Even imperfect action beats perfect inaction. So which book should you read first? If you've never thought about investing before, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it'll change how you think about money. Just know it's a mindset book, not a how-to manual. If you want one book that covers everything, the book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner. It's the most practical, most actionable, most comprehensive single resource. If you're a numbers person, the Gallinelli book on cash flow. You'll learn how to actually evaluate a deal. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, the ABCs of real estate investing. It's the gentlest on-ramp. Here's my honest take after reading all 5. The real estate investing book industry has a formula. First, convince you that your current financial path is wrong. Second, inspire you with stories of people who made millions. Third, give you just enough practical advice to feel like you've learned something. Fourth, leave you wanting more, often pointing to a course, a mentorship program, or a seminar. The best books on this list resist that formula. They actually teach you something you can use. The worst ones are teaser trailers for expensive programs. If I could only recommend two, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad for the mindset shift, then immediately read the book on rental property investing for the actual how-to. That pair will take you from, I should invest in real estate, to, I know exactly what my first step should be. Next week, I'm breaking down the 5 most common real estate mistakes that cost beginners thousands of dollars. Some of them are things I almost did myself while researching this channel. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you've read any of these books, drop a comment. I want to know if you agree with my takes, or if I'm completely wrong about Rich Dad, Poor Dad.